we see so many people who come into our community, and when you check out their social media, all they're doing is promoting. Huh? Like, all they are doing is promoting. We have an event on Saturday. Make sure you come. Donations, we're collecting donations for this. Like, it's always a, hey, look at us. This is what we're doing, as opposed to really dialing in to the stories of the people you serve. Welcome back to Land the Talk. I am your host, Robin Nathaniel. We are cooking up another solo episode for you. Don't worry, we will have more guests come back onto the show. But for now, I want to make sure I continue to dig into the series that we started last week. I mentioned last week that we would likely have a part 2 and maybe a part 3. It looks like we're gonna go 3 parts. I looked at this 26 slide masterpiece of a presentation that I prepared for you, and I said, you know what, there is no way that I'm gonna do this in 1 episode. So I said, maybe we'll do it in 2. But then I took a look again and I said, it looks like we'll do 3 parts. Likely next week, we'll probably have an interview. If not, we'll throw out part 3 for you. Any way you look at it, our primary objective here is to make sure that we're offering limitless value for you, whether that's trainings, updates, inspiration from guests, play-by-play advice on how you can land your first TED Talk, and more. With that being said, I do have an announcement. I'll share it towards the end of the episode, but I want to go ahead and get into part 2 of this training. The training is called Digital Reputation, Branding and Social Media for Nonprofits, Part 2. I want to make sure you know that there is a resource that accompanies this training. It's for free. At the end of the episode, I will let you know how you can get it. If you tuned in last week, you probably already have it. It's an ebook that we're calling Reputation Revolution. There's also some other resources in that bundle, including some checklists and some AI prompts, I believe. It's just a really huge value, and it costs you absolutely nothing. You get it for free just by being a part of our community here. Now, really, folks don't put a lot of thought into their digital reputation when it comes to social media. And this is a conversation that I want to have more with nonprofits, mission-driven leaders, purpose-driven leaders, and just giving them, another take on what they are and what they represent, I should say, when they're online. So let's jump right into it. First things first. Let's talk about some best practices. If you're listening at home and you're not watching the YouTube version of this episode, I would strongly encourage you to check out the YouTube version, but I'm going to do my best to describe what's on the screen. So right now I have a chart here. It's kind of a flow chart that guides you through creating engaging social media content. So really, these are just best practices for engagement in order for you to reach social media mastery levels. First step is understanding your audience. People create social media accounts sometimes, and when I tell you, if I could tell you how many nonprofits I see starting up, putting out content blindly without having a firm grasp on who they're speaking to and what message they're trying to convey to their audience. Like, if I had a buffalo nickel for every one of those, I would probably be a multi-millionaire. With that said, I want to make sure we equip you to have the necessary tools to be successful, especially if you're first starting out. So understanding your audience. We'll talk a little bit about that in a minute on ways that you can do that. Next, you want to tailor your content, especially when you think about being on different platforms. Oftentimes, people create content in general. Then they repurpose that content across social media platforms. However, the way you frame something on, let's say, Instagram, specifically talking about maybe the captions, right? Not so much your creative assets, but the captions, like, people put anything out. People are not really formatting, and if they are, they're advanced, right? On LinkedIn, however, if you guys spend any time on LinkedIn, you understand that formatting and line breaks and white space is a priority for those high-level content creators and brands. So you want to make sure that you're being mindful of where you are, in the social media landscape, right? Like if you're on X or Twitter, that's a different vibration than you're going to have on Facebook. So you want to be really mindful of that. Oftentimes that is ignored. So after you tailor your content, you want to use visuals. We are pushing people to test more video content in 2025. However, graphics and photos still work. So I wouldn't eliminate that from your strategy, but definitely something you want to expand on in 2025 is trying out some video content. And also, if you're on platforms like X, like LinkedIn, it's okay to test out text-only content. Share narratives. And especially for my nonprofit folks out there, this is definitely for you. This is something that we see so many people who come into our community, and when you check out their social media, all they're doing is promoting. Like all they are doing is promoting. We have an event on Saturday. Make sure you come. Donations, we're collecting donations for this. Like it's always a, hey, look at us. This is what we're doing, as opposed to really dialing in to the stories of the people you serve, of the stories for the people who work for you, and also the stories of your primary stakeholders, your major donors. How did you guys get connected? Why did they decide that your cause and your nonprofit was the place that they wanted to pour in their resources? And what you do is you attract similar stakeholders and donors. So this is something you really don't want to miss. You want to make sure that you're sharing narratives of the people you serve, the people who support you, and also of your team. Also, you want to provide value. I'm almost in 2025 thinking about just coining a whole new phrase for this, because if I hear somebody say provide value again, I might throw up a little bit in my mouth. Yeah, I might do that. But you do want to offer value. Encourage interaction. This is huge. So for social, I had a call last night with our podcast network, and we were talking about ways to kind of encourage people to get engaged on your social media content. And one thing that's kind of a hack that people do a lot on LinkedIn, but I don't see it happening so much on the other platforms, is really getting into the comment section of those accounts that you want to be aligned with or you aspire to be and look like, right? So let's say you are a small nonprofit that helps youth, local underserved youth in your neighborhood. You want to look to the Boys and Girls Club of America. You want to look to the YMCA of the USA. Come on, right? You want to look to those larger nonprofits, jump into their comment sections, get into those conversations to see if you can kind of connect with their community, but also see if you can just stir up some algorithm signals for whatever platform you're on. So that's something that's huge. You want to encourage the interactions. And one more tip on that. When you're in the comment section, make sure you address what's happening. Oftentimes, especially with people who are using AI autoresponders, they're using AI agents to respond on their behalf, and we're getting wild generic comments these days. When I tell you, listen, you'll get an AI agent that'll be like, oh my God, thank you so much for your adventurous insight. Appreciate you. Please follow us. Like, dude, you got robot written all over your forehead. With that said, what I would recommend is making it a task for your team, your interns, or if it's you and you're a small operation, it's okay to leave a sentence or two. It could be as simple as, yes, I agree with that, and I'd like to add this, and then insert question here. End on a question, somebody might respond. And if they do respond, you might actually get some back and forth and a legit conversation. Last step is or not the last step, the result is increased engagement. So just to recap, we want to have audience understanding. We want to tailor content. We want to use visuals. We want to share narratives, provide value, encourage interactions, and that will lead to increased engagement. Step 1, understand the importance of social media engagement. Recognize that engagement goes beyond posting content. It's about creating meaningful interactions. Understand that engaged followers are more likely to increase spending and share your content. Number 2, craft compelling content. Tailor your content to your target demographics' interests, pain points, and preferences. Use images and videos for higher engagement. Share customer success stories and behind-the-scenes glimpses. Encourage interactions by posing questions and running polls. Share useful tips, how-to guides, or industry insights. Tap into trending topics relevant to your industry. So I want to quickly jump in on trending topics. You do not want to make this all that you do. It's important to do it, don't get me wrong. But I feel like sometimes what happens when folks are consuming your content, it can almost feel like you're just covering something so you could get some kind of, algorithm boost, which is okay if that's what you're into. But really what we're preaching to you is forming true human connections through social media. It's not so much how many views you got. It's not so much if the post went viral. It's really what kind of results did we get in terms of human connections? Did we create a new volunteer? Did we find a new major donor? Did we find our new director of membership, our new director of development? Did we find a new team member? So make sure that you keep your eyes on the prize in terms of your organization's big picture goals, not the vanity metrics. Again, if that's what you're here for, that's okay too. I used to be a vanity metrics chaser myself. On my first TikTok account, we had several videos that did over 1 million views, and I was hyped, but it didn't bring the human connection that I was looking for. On some of my smaller accounts, for example, my MBA account, I think we have 13,000 followers on TikTok, which is okay, but we have genuine connections. We have a hyper engaged audience, where on my primary account, the first account with millions of views on the videos, over 130,000 followers, we just don't have those true connections. So make sure you lock in on the North Star, whatever the North Star is for your social media platforms. Align it with your organizational values, and you'll have magic occur when you go online. Next up, we want to go into step 3. Develop a content creation and scheduling strategy. Create a content calendar outlining what to post, when, and on which platforms. Set aside time for batch content creation. Repurpose content across different formats and platforms. Use scheduling tools like Hootsuite or Buffer for consistent posting. Analyze platform analytics to determine optimal posting times. So I do have a side note on this one, especially when it comes to repurposing. Like I said earlier, very important. Yes, repurpose your content, but make sure you are making those adjustments to fine-tune the content for the respective platform. You don't want to be out here posting the same content word for word, verbatim, same format and everything, unless the platforms are congruent. For example, Facebook and Instagram. You could very much post a Facebook reel and an Instagram reel, no problemo. There's even a feature within Meta where you can actually do that, right? But once you take that same video over to X, there's a couple of issues that arise. First of all, the way it's going to look on the feed, you might have your nose and below blocked because it changes the aspect ratio of your video, and then you have character count limitations, so you might lose a part of your text. So just be really mindful of the platforms you're repurposing on and make the necessary adjustments. Next up, let's talk about step 4. Implement audience segmentation and personalized interactions. Divide your audience based on demographics, interests, behavior, and engagement level. Create content that speaks directly to each segment's interests or needs. Use platform advertising tools or highly targeted content delivery. Tailor your interactions based on audience segments. So for the ads, for the advertisement tools, if you are not there yet where you're not running ads, I wouldn't rush into that. So I have to mention it because some folks are in different seasons of their journey. So I want to make sure I put it out there. It is definitely worth your time and your while to create a line in your advertising budget for online social media ads. When I tell you, we have seen so much growth, whether it's in my day job or with my clients. We see across the board when folks have super targeted advertisement campaigns that they get the traffic and results they are looking for. It's just a matter of how much money do you have to play with, okay? So please don't feel like you need to go start running ads today. If you do need help, just shoot me an email and we can connect. You can reach me at robin.nathaniel@gmail.com. Now, let's take a look at this exercise. Now, we're talking about audience segmentation, and I'm going to give you a superhero hack at the end of this that'll really help you. So look at the segments like this. You can think about like what their identity is or what they're known as or known for. You could have a segment of young professionals. You can have a segment of parents. You can have a segment of seniors. Then characteristics would be more like their age and their focus. Let's say the young professionals are 25 to 35 and they're career focused. The parents are 30 to 45, family oriented. And the seniors are over 60 and retirement focused. And then you can have the engagement strategy. For the young professionals, maybe we'll give career tips and industry trends. For the parents, maybe we'll talk about family-related content and parenting advice. And then for the seniors, we can give health tips and leisure activities. One superhero hack I want to change when it comes to creating this audience segmentation and identifying your ideal client profiles, right? This is the hack. Don't look at it as just a demographics exercise. Let me repeat that. Do not look at it like it's just a demographics exercise. Look at it as if it's a value-based exercise. The hack is not just looking at the demographics, it's also going deep into the person's values. And if you want to go even deeper with the ninja trick here, give each audience segmentation member an avatar profile. Give them a name. So for example, let's go back and take a look. Let's say the young professional, his name is Jim. The parents could be Sue and Dan, and then the senior can be Jeffrey, right? Now you have that written somewhere for your team. So when you guys are in meetings, you can be like, well, this post is for Jeffrey. And when you're speaking to the audience, you can speak as if you are talking directly to Jeffrey. I just wouldn't recommend using his name when you actually release the content. But that's a trick that works really well to get your team on board and also kind of create that shift where you guys are speaking directly to different audience groups. Next, this is another advanced tip. For step 5, leverage user-generated content, UGC. Run contests or campaigns encouraging followers to create brand-related content. Regularly feature UGC on your platforms. Always respond to and engage with UGC, even if you're not featuring it. Ask for permission and give credit when using someone's content. And last, encourage the use of a specific brand hashtag for UGC. So if you don't have budget to pay a big time creator, a lot of times you can find UGC creators right in your community. Depending on your organization, you might even be able to leverage some of your team members to go online and be brand ambassadors and advocates and UGC creators for you online. So don't feel like you need to hire a famous, TikToker to do this. This could be within your organization, even partnering with other nonprofits that you have some kind of connection with, and seeing if you guys could trade off and promote each other through the content. Number 6, utilize and analyze tools and adapt strategies. Familiarize yourself with platform-specific analytics tools. Focus on metrics aligned with your goal, like engagement rate, reach, and conversions. Set up a system for regular reporting and analysis. Conduct A/B tests on different types of content. This is huge, especially when it comes to video versus photography. Make sure you are trying different posting times and engagement strategies, and use data to refine and improve your strategies continuously. Number 7, build a vibrant, interactive community. Respond to comments, messages, and mentions promptly. Start discussions related to your industry or brand. Feature community members regularly. Host live Q&A sessions or product demonstrations. Create exclusive communities for your most engaged followers. And involve your community in content creation through polls or idea sourcing. Here are some action items for you. 1, develop a comprehensive social media strategy based on these steps. 2, create a content calendar for the next month. 3, step up analytics tracking for all of your social media platforms. And 3, plan and launch a UGC campaign. Now, I talked about that resource that we have for you. That ebook is yours. All you have to do is visit landthetalk.com, and you'll get an email with a link to all of our free resources. Remember, the name of this bundle is called The Reputation Revolution. This has been an absolute blast. Remember, there are only a few episodes left, and I did promise you a special announcement. The special announcement is that I am in the process of working on my very first book. Yes, it is time. Something that I've wanted to do for a really long time. I've honestly been praying on it, thinking about it. Do I have the time? Do I have the bandwidth? What will the topic be? And finally, I had an interview actually with a gentleman named David, and he asked me these questions that I really wasn't prepared for. I came into it thinking about, all right, so I got these social media answers. I'll give his audience like this crash course. And he was asking me questions that were deep, questions about my mom, my brother, my TEDx talk, man. And it hit home for me. And that night I was like, I'm going to write this book. And I just started. So I'm in the process now of working with the editor to kind of clean up everything that I threw at the wall, to kind of structure it, make it neat and pretty. And I'm hoping it's out in 2025. I think it's going to be out really soon because the wheels are turning really fast. But I just wanted to let you know that at the end of this season, when we finish our last episodes and we take our little hiatus break for at the end of season 1, I'm really going to dig into promoting that book and getting it out to the people. So until we meet next week, this is Land the Talk. Please share with a friend. We'll talk to you soon.